This podcast may contain offensive content. You have been warned. Diecast podcast. I am your host and DM, Johnny, and this is Season 7 of The Shadow Menace. Now, before we get into everything, I'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, and that, of course, is the Storytelling Collective. The Collective is an amazing online program that's helping aspiring designers create their first tabletop role-playing game adventures and help them enter the tabletop gaming industry. Whether you're a beginner or you're an experienced veteran, there will be something for you to learn. And they've just finished their winter session, so keep an eye out on Drive-Thru-RPG and the DM's Guild because you will find some amazing new products hitting the shelves. Check them out. There's lots of great adventures, and there's lots of great stuff to learn that's not just D&D. You can do Call of Cthulhu, you can do Pathfinder, and you can find a learning stream that caters to a game you specifically want to create for. So go check them out. You can find them at storytellingcollective.com, or you can follow them on Twitter at storytellingcol, C-O-L at the end. Give them a follow. Check them out. They are so much fun. I'm doing the How to Market Your Own TRPG right now, and let me tell you, I'm so glad I did it. I'm learning so much. I'm filling in a spot that I was lacking in skills, and now I'm building up those skills. I am learning a ton. I'm reading a lot, and it feels good to learn again. So I highly recommend them. When their summer session comes around, you're going to hear from me a lot about it because it is worthwhile. Everyone's such a good person. The Discord is such amazing energy, such a welcoming community. Go check them out. I love them. You'll love them. Check them out, please. Now, before we get into the regular run of the Diecast podcast, first of all, some things to be aware about with this episode is that it's a bit scuffed. I made an error in recording. It happens sometimes when you're on the road and you're learning new computers and new systems, and I had two audio inputs going for the incoming sound. My recording sounded great. The recording that was coming in online from everybody else is in stereo, so it's a bit scuffed. It's a bit rough. Fortunately, it's only an hour long, but there's some great story. There's some great character development. I've softened it up and cleaned it up as best I can, but please just endure. It's not going to be the best of quality of episode, but it's still going to be a good episode. So thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for coming along on the adventure, and let's just power through this together. Mistakes were made. As any D&D group will tell you, mistakes were made, but the outcome will be worth it in the end, I assure you. So thank you so much. So before we jump in, let's not forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Diecast Podcast. Please give us a follow. It'll help us out so much. You can find us on any app that plays a podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and the big thing there is leave a rating and review. I've been reading the reviews. Thank you so much. They've been amazing. Keep it up. Let's keep those reviews coming. Let's keep those ratings coming in. It helps us be more visible, and it helps share the adventures with everybody. So thank you. If you've done that, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. It means so much to us. You can find us on our own website at www.flyinglizardstudio.com, and of course on YouTube and our Discord channel. Those links will be in the posts for this podcast episode. I think that is it. Let us just jump right into the episode. I love you all so much. Wear a mask, get vaccinated, tell a loved one how you feel, and I will see you next week. I love you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diecast podcast, The Shadow Menace. Last week, we had the whole group make their way through the Enchanted Forest, encountered Marta, the Bone Witch, and it got a little creepy if you don't know. And she was rather intent on haranguing and harassing the Trollskull Trio through the Enchanted Forest, and was just seeing what they're doing at the Enchanted Archives. Fortunately for you, Dragonbait knew a bit of the defenses of the Archive of Ioun and activated some of its defenses, which kept you safe from the Bone Witch. You then solved the riddle of the door, where you had to get moonlight in the daytime and daylight in the nighttime. One of those two things would open up the rune door, and you successfully figured out a plan to blow a hole through the tree, reflect the light, and use some illusion moonlight and activate the runes and unlock the door, and into the library you went, where if you've seen the Toronto French Library, that is my exact motivation or inspiration for the interior, with 3 bronze statues holding eye globe in their hand, 2 levitating platforms on the bottom floor, and that weird kind of orangish, beigeish, funky carpet color of many, many stories of they like clones and copies of the same floor stacked on top of each other. And as you looked up towards the top of the roof, you saw this beautiful open sky with stars and moons and blue skies and night sky all kind of swirling around, and a series of ghosts all sitting at the giant library, at the giant reading tables, all reading through books, when one of them turned to Amalika, Uther, Waywocket Senior, and Dragonbait and went, "Shh. What do you do?"
Oh, sorry.
Our apologies. Is there a reference desk we can go to?
You see her.
Those two.
You actually can see through her elven features are very transparent. You can actually see the ghosts working, flipping through books, and she points over to the pedestal of the 3 statues holding up what appears to be a giant globe, almost infused. If someone wants to give me a history or religion check, please do so.
Sure, why not? History or religion, you said?
Yes, one of those two.
Okay.
Ooh, got an 18. All right. It's really easy for Waywocket and Amalika. This is the iconography of Ioun, the goddess of information and archives, of keeping knowledge and learning knowledge, and keeping it safe and sound. You do look around, and you do notice that this is kind of the main area of the entranceway to the Wailing Archives, and you do notice that, much like there's different wings in the library, that there are wings that go off to the left, but they're separated by kind of like this wall of mist. You can see it, but there's definitely a kind of like a smoky, misty barrier in between the different wings that you can see. If you go to roll 20, I
only see Amalika at the moment on the map.
Yeah, you can pull yourselves onto the map if you wish. Both tables are full of ghosts, and there is the 3 statues, bronze statues, holding up that giant eye kind of globe, and the ghost pointed to the base of it.
I will go to the base of the statue and
All right.
do it. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
All right. Sorry, I was going to say, as you get closer, you can see that there is a small panel. It's almost Star Trek-like, where the lights in display just kind of hover in the midair. There's no actual frame or paneling to actually give physical substance. It just kind of is like almost like a VR light display, and it's written in Ancient Elvish. Oh, but you're still under the effects of your comprehend languages. So it reads out the Ioun Archive of Ioun directory.
Does there seem to be like an input, or
give me an Arcana check. Woo, 16. You think that it's kind of like the welcome screen or the home screen. If you find a way to interact with it somehow, it may react.
Can I try and like suck up to like the ghosts a little bit, like be like, oh, y'all are doing a really good job here. Wow, we have a ghost that works with us, and he's just great. So, like, I really just want you all to understand how much we appreciate ghosts.
All right. You're going to get advantage on the roll. I'll say you can do persuasion if you want. Would there be a better one? No, persuasion.
I will do persuasion.
With advantage because you mentioned you work with
21.
Damn.
I have an 8 in persuasion. I am very, very charming.
And you see her turn towards you, and she's wearing what appear to be very ancient but high society type of robes and clothing. Her hair is done up, and there's like some like metal filigree that kind of like decorates her hair into a ponytail. And she looks at you, and you see or appreciate that you used a lower tone in your voice and kept it very quiet and polite. And she says, "Oh, well, that is good to hear. It is not very often we get people coming in here who wish to talk to us. They usually unsheath some type of weapon or some type of magic, and we must respond. So I thank you for that. My name is Librarian Castellan."
I'm going to unsheath my weapon and be like, what is that ghost saying to you over there?
You see,
Uther,
you see,
put your weapon away.
You see one of the ghosts next to her raise up and looks at Uther and goes, "Shh."
We're just having a nice conversation and telling them how much Litha means to us at Trollskull, and we're using our indoor whisper voices, Uther. Our indoor whisper voices.
Our ghost makes excellent pancakes and never shushes me.
Or silent voices. Silent or whisper.
What an oxymoron. I'll go and stomp off.
Sorry about him. He's well-meaning, but a bit, she says kind of like Malika kind of puffs up her shoulders, like a bit brutish,
You see Castellan kind of like give us half a smile and a nod. It's like, yes, we all need someone to carry the heavy books every now and then.
Yeah.
But I do welcome you to the library, although I'm afraid it goes by a more sinister name now of the Wailing Archives. Lysana has claimed control of this place, and we have not seen her in some time, but she has... I cannot guarantee your safety here, unfortunately.
Well, appreciate that. We came here knowing there might be a little danger. I hope you'll forgive us if, we have to do what's necessary to remove some monsters in our path, but any guidance you could give us would be really appreciated, or how we can use this device that my friend Waywocket's at here. If you have any information that could help us, that would be most appreciated. We can take care of the rest.
Give me a persuasion check, again made with advantage.
Okay.
21.
Another
again.
21.
Nice.
And I'm very charming.
You see her do something that it's something she probably hasn't done in a very long time, and it's actually get to be a librarian. She kind of ghostly flips her hair back and like kind of just like levitates out of her seat. She says, "Oh, well, please allow me to help you." And she hovers over next to Waywocket. Waywocket, you hear kind of like this spectre like, "Pardon me," as she kind of just phases right through you, and passes over to the other side. And she says, "Well, first of all, this has not always been a sinister archive. It used to be a great source of knowledge and information, and people from all over would come to try and learn or garner something new about the universe or the cosmos," as you see her smile a little bit. And she says, "As for dangers here, I would advise to avoid the basement or the atrium at the top. Lysana had created some terrible guardians, one of those being mana elementals. And if you have any magical talents or magical skills, I'd say be aware they do not hit hard, but they drain the magical essence out of anyone who can bend arcane to their will."
Really good to know. And again, I've been a lot of places in my life, but I gotta tell you, librarians are the most powerful people I've ever met. They know all, so I appreciate you.
It's like, oh, thank you so much. As you see her kind of like filled with pride. Like, we're not the most powerful, but we are always willing to help in life or afterlife. She says,
Well, those with knowledge are indeed the most powerful, you know? Like I've got this headband of intelligence and life has got exponentially better. So knowledge is power.
You see her say, the other warning I'd say is to watch out. And the reason why the Wailing Archives gets its name is Lysana has not been kind to the thieves and intruders she's captured along the way. She's turned these adventurers into some type of or some form of sentry system. They're unfortunately called inside outs, and they are former adventurers who are captured and unfortunately not given the benefit of a death. Is that they are constantly wandering through the library archives, and they're in a state of constantly being, their insides are coming to the outside and then going back inside again, and they are in a constant state of pain. If you see one, be very quiet. If they detect the living, then they will stand and scream and bellow until it attracts even more. And once one starts to go off, the rest start to sound off as well. And as she actually points over to the east, and on the other side of like this fogged, like this kind of like goes up to about your waist, Amalka, of like this like misty, cloudy wall, you see what appears to be just like a human male in leather, and then you see his face and muscle structure kind of like tear at the skin, and like his outsides come out, and then his skull comes to the outside. Then his skull kind of breaks, and you can see the inside of his brains as it all just kind of like revolves and like slurps to the back of his head where the front of his face comes out again. And he looks at your whole group, and he almost zombie like lurches forward, always leaving like a small little trail of just like viscera and entrails as he comes up, and it looks like he butts against, almost like going to like the zoo and you put your hand up against the aquarium wall, or like one of like the manatees just come and go boom. You can't hear a thing. He's clearly wailing, and he's trying to make his way through the wall. And she says, yes, that is one of those. If it does get close enough, it will send off a ghastly wail that will attract more and more and more.
This is giving me like Last of Us PTSD.
They are quite effective. Fortunately, Lysana has not been here in quite some time, so I don't know if you kill them. I believe they will cease to be. Although I guess that's the other thing we should warn you about, is this place has a lot of magical protections that Miss Lysana had wanted to keep this place preserved. The first of all is that the undead seem to respawn here every couple of days if we are slain. So nothing is truly permanent. And the other is there's a great shield of protection around here. So communication or teleportation with the outside is all but impossible. She's actually mastered the spell herself. It's called the Cloister spell.
Okay, well, that is very good to know. You have been most helpful.
Well, you've been very kind. And as I said, it's been centuries since someone has come in here not swinging swords or throwing spells at us. I will say the mist wall you see is actually a form of transportation. That's not something Lysona built. This was built by the previous librarians for the archive. It's kind of like an interdimensional pocket dimension to put in more archives and more library. So as you step into the mist, you will be taken to a kind of a transition library, a transition archive where you must find your way out again. Unfortunately, time works a little differently in there, so there may be people, creatures, monsters stuck in there, but you just need to find the other exit, the other door, and you should find your way into the different wings. Oh, the wings, right. Let me show you. As you see, her hand kind of just glides over the interface, and it kind of brings up like this map of the archive. And on the ground floor, you can see that there's 3 wings. There is the evocation wing just off to your west. the Abjuration Wing, which is just off to your east, which had like kind of like the domed protection on it, and a second Abjuration off to the north behind the levitating platforms. She says, and as we go up to the second floor, you can see that it gets a bit more varied, and they look like the exact same floor plans. As on the second floor, it says the northern wing is the Conjuration Wing, the western wing is the Necromancy Wing, and the eastern wing is the Divination Wing. And then she says, on the basement, we have different summoning circles. There's an elemental, a devil, a fae, and a demon circle if you wish to interact with any of the beings from those realms. And of course, the atrium way, way, way at the top is entirely devoted to divination and starseeing and astrology and other dimensions and other realities, and for planar travel. And we have a whole section devoted to wild chaos magic as well. So it's quite interesting, but that is where Lysana and those arcane elementals did a lot of her work and practice.
And, if, say, we were looking for a few specific books, how might we find those?
Oh, this is literally a catalog of, if you know the exact title of the book, it'll tell you which section they are in, which floor, which shelf, and it should all be available to you if you simply know the titles of the book.
Waywocket, do you know the titles? Because I didn't write this down.
Well, some of us just have very good memories and wrote it down. And,
Right, that.
so number 1, Crystal Fortress Volume 2.
All right, she says, well, please enter it into the display panel, please.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous to touch this thing.
Oh, it's perfectly safe as long as you don't activate any defenses or I guess invoke any of our wrath, as it will. The statues will not attack.
Oh, that's very comforting. So I guess I don't. Well, I'll put in, I guess, in common, Crystal Fortress Volume 2. Like I spell it with my finger.
It's actually got like a little keyboard interface type, almost like a smartphone. As you see it click in, and then it kind of like you see like the outside. It's almost like a Jurassic Park mapping, where you see it kind of like zoom out and then kind of flutters in, and it's on the first floor in the the east wing of Abjuration. And it gives you like a small little bookshelf. It is in fact, let me move map and background, select a move. It is right, if you can see on the map, it goes ping and is right there on the top shelf. Bing.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. Oh, that's cool. Also very cool stuff there, John.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like this is definitely one of those circumstances where it seems a little too easy.
Well, we got more books than that to look for. Now let's do summoning and travel between planes.
It says you type it in and it actually comes up. It comes up from the Abjuration Wing in the east and actually goes down a level down to the basement, where it actually shows. I don't have the basement map, unfortunately, because Roll20 does not like Safari, but it is next to the Demon Summoning Circle. There's a small little workbench with a bunch of looks like archives and tomes, and it does a ping there, and it's like in the southwest corner of the room, right next to the Demon Summoning Circle.
To be fair, no one likes Safari. Oh, the basement. That's where those fierce monsters are.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one. Maybe. Yeah, we'll discuss this. All right. Second last one. Treatise on magic and something. I didn't actually get that written fast enough.
A treatise on magic and the arcane. All right, you see it pull out from the basement. It zooms all the way up to the fourth floor in... Actually, sorry, no, it's going to stay on the first floor. It's going to be just directly to your west in the Evocation Wing. And it's going to... Let me move this over. And it's going to ping right there in the southeast corner of that room.
All right, and last but not least, the Journal of Lysandra Baldur.
You see Castellan say, "Oh, I'm afraid that wouldn't be registered in. That's her own personal. I do know where it is, though. It is on the top floor in the atrium. I believe it's on her personal workbenches where she was using it last."
Of course it is. Well, again, I know Waywocket's storing that all in his memory right now, committing it to the brain, but you have been so very helpful. Waywocket, is there anything else you want to know?
Is there anything, while we're here, I guess actually my big question is, what is your borrowing policy?
Oh, well, it is impossible to take any archive or tome outside of the archives. So you're free as long as you put it in a return bin or return basket or return it to where you found it. It should be okay to read, make copies, make notes. As long as you have the time and resources to do so, and you do not damage the books, then do not tear any pages. I must warn you, the library defenses do get very stern when you try to rip a page out of a tome.
Well, I could bring a book from floor to floor, just read it between the floors, no problem.
As long as you return it into a return basket or a return cart, then it should be fine.
And again,
what
make
happens?
Copies of it.
What happens to people who bring the books outside the library? Inside out, or nothing, or...
They will find themselves either without their book, their possessions, or their lives, unfortunately.
And again, we can make copies.
Oh,
that's
yes.
not...
Yes.
Okay.
Fair warning, a lot of the books are magical in nature and may be resistant to being copied or duplicated, but if you are able to do so, you're fully allowed to make your own, take notes, make a copy of it, however you see fit.
You again have been enormously helpful and, dare I say, probably a lifesaver.
What say you, Uncle Waywocket? Can we make copies of the books, or do we just have to take them?
We shouldn't say this in front of the librarians.
Yeah, I'm going to say...
That we're avid readers.
Avid readers.
We are. We love literature.
We literally love literature. I'm a fan of alliteration.
Respecting literature. We love all of that. Literature, librarians, literacy.
Literature, in fact, is my middle name.
Okay, we're pushing it now. You're pushing it. You're pushing it a bit.
Everyone give me an insight check.
Okay. Oh, I'm not as good at insight. 14.
Ugh. I rolled so poorly.
Uther. You definitely get the feeling that she wants to ask your group a question.
I get the feeling you wish to ask the group a question. What is your question, Ghost?
She says, well, our movement is limited inside this library. We are kind of just stuck in this one foyer area, and a couple of the other archivists and librarians and I are actually longing for some of our belongings that belonged to us in our previous lives. We're wondering if you could return them to us, that maybe we'd find some comfort or some happiness to just reconnect with these things from our previous lives before everything turned for the poorer.
Yeah, I think we could do that. Where are your belongings?
She says, I can give you a rough idea, but I don't know if people have moved it or creatures have moved it or if they've moved over the course of time. We can give you a starting point, and if it's, I hate to intrude. It's just that we've very rarely had people consult.
Again, I think you have saved us a lot of time. You have literally, I'm pretty sure, saved us from at least a lot of pain and misery, which I'm sure we will still experience. But if we find these things on our journey, I'm sure we could do it. Waywocket, right? We could do this. Like, we
I'm
help.
sure, it'll probably be on our way between the basement and the atrium. We're going to be covering a lot of ground.
It's true.
Says, well, if you could, it's myself and two others. There were the head archivists and librarians. If you could find my quill set, my writing set, I had such lovely quills and wonderful inks in there. If you could return that to me, that would be just most excellent. Thank you. That was in the divination wing last I saw it in the north.
And may I ask, like, why you linger here so long afterwards? Like, the ghosts here just kind of like in the world just. It's like Lift just like wants to keep working, right? Like,
yeah, there's
a real personality disorder.
Yeah. For the Forgotten Realms in our version of it, there can be a myriad of reasons of why they stick around. Some can be magically bound, some just choose to stick around, some may be trapped. It's almost infinite reasons of why.
Okay.
But you see,
so
Castellan actually says, like, I do believe that the Lich's power in that cloister spell has kept us here. Transportation between the planes is nigh impossible. Communication with the outside is nigh impossible. I mean, we technically are on a different plane, but just this cloister spell has put a dome of protection around us that, unless you know where it is, even if you wouldn't find it randomly.
Okay.
So the quill set, how will we know it's yours? I mean, I'm just assuming there's going to be pens aplenty on the other side of this wall.
Oh, well, it is in a beautiful brass and leather case. It has Sylvan written on it, called with the title of the Grand Archivist, or sorry, the Grand Librarian.
Perfect. What else you need? Who else needs, chopsticks, maybe? Funny hat? What about you?
It's funny that you say that. Archivist Soren is actually sorely misses his hat. He was quite the haberdasher. And he enjoyed a wide assortment of wide brim hats that I find were too gregarious, but he was absolutely in love with them. He was
Get it. Hats are great.
He was very much in the divination area with the last time he saw his hat.
On the first floor or like the top floor divination area?
I believe that would be 1 second. You see one of the ghosts look up, kind of like a surly half-orc, and he says, 3rd floor, that's where my hat was.
Noted, okay.
Charming, very charming.
And for Conjurer Folic, he had a very beautiful jade charm that his children gave him, and he very much would like to have it back. It's one of the last reminders of his life outside of here.
And I'm assuming that's going to be one of the conjuration wings.
Correct.
That'll be on the 2nd floor?
2nd floor, yes, correct.
Almost like you were paying attention.
Yeah, I made some pretty rough notes. They're pretty good, though.
I have not, because I assumed Waywocket is putting them all in his memory bank.
All right, we got some side quests. We got some main quests. I think we're questing.
And I thank you for all your help. Myself and the other librarians and archivists will be down here should you need any help. But I do urge a whole amount of caution. There are the defenses that Lysana put in afterwards, and then just the natural defenses that the old archivist of Ioun used to keep this place safe. So I'd urge an exceptional amount of caution as you wander through the archives.
I recommend we start with the basement. That way, if we die, we won't have to carry too many books around.
What was in the basement again? The mana thing was on the top floor, right? The atrium?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the basement, we're looking for the summoning and travel between plane booklets. It's in the demon summoning room. And I gotta agree with Uth over here, if only because, I'm afraid of many things in here, but I want like the most juice while fighting demons.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with.
Yeah. Like,
as you know, I do enjoy talking my way out of things. I don't think we're gonna have that option with demons.
You'd be surprised.
See,
You never know.
I would be surprised.
You see Castellan say, well, demons are a bit more chaotic. If you were to have a conversation, it would probably be with a devil or a fae more than anything.
Okay, well, and I mean, if we needed to say have a short rest or something, could we come back here and set up like a small little camp? Is that okay?
Oh, yes, as long as you were quiet and if none of the other Denzians of the archive followed you here, you'd be perfectly welcome to recuperate here.
Wonderful, wonderful. You are very hospitable, and we are going to have to tell our ghost Lith all about you.
It's like, oh, well, thank you so much, and thank you for being kind and not just resorting to violence right off the go.
All right. Do you want to head to the basement then?
Team? The basement is a bit tricky to get to. The entrance kind of wanders around. It's not as dangerous as it seems, but have you ever heard of a Zarv before?
What's a Zarv?
It's a giant, well, not giant. It's a medium-sized demon. Yeah. It is a medium-sized demon with a maw that connects to another dimension. And Castellan explains that this was one of the old defenses inside the archive, that if you wanted to get down to the basement and do experiments, you had to jump into the maw of this demon. So you just have to tackle it, get to stay still for a couple of seconds, and then its mouth will open into a gateway and you walk through it.
Ha ha ha! This library isn't so boring after all.
Oh, I think you'll find it is quite intense to seek knowledge here.
Yes. Knowledge is power, knowledge is pain.
It's like quite in the literal sense. You won't be too amused of where you exit the basement from.
Ah, yuck. I feel like Amala just like stress petting like Dante. Like she's just like, like I'm not about those.
You feel that sandpapery lick of shadow hand, like just kind of like does that dog lean into you.
Oh, should we stay here, Dante? Let's just wait for everybody in this nice, safe, chill space. Yeah.
Any idea where that Zarv might be now? Basically wandering around, any good floors to maybe check out?
She says, oh no, that door is very hard to find. I do know a locate creature spell may aid you in that, but other than that, it is he wanders around.
Well, I learned locate objects. I didn't know there would be such a good archive over here.
Oh, actually, no, that would just point you to the basement. I was going to say if you knew the book, but I guess it would just point you towards the basement. It's the door you have to find.
Well, let's maybe just start, a little easy. We'll head over here to the East Wing and see if we can find ourselves that's Crystal Fortress Volume 2.
Yeah. She says, all you have to do is just walk straight through the mist and you'll be teleported somewhere extra dimensional, and then just find the door on the other side and you should be okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go do this.
All right, so you make your way up. It feels actually almost cool and refreshing, a lot like those misting stations at amusement parks. As you feel calm and relaxing. And then how do you proceed through the mist?
Confidently.
All right, Uther, are you the first through?
Yep.
Roll me a d6 then, please.
Stompy, stompy. Rolling a d6. What will happen to me? Bloop.
Ooh. Very cool. Okay. as you all follow Uther, I presume you all follow Uther into this.
Yeah.
Right,
Uther
right,
into the
feels.
ether.
Yeah, you do smell ham with dragon bait around you. Sorry, I should have been giving dragon bait updates as
Right.
we went.
Forgot about dragon bait.
As you actually, through that whole conversation with Castellan, you actually smelled Lemons the entire. He was very chill and happy about what was going on. So you step through the mist and you see this long hallway. You can see on the other, like just further down, it's almost like that scene from Captain Marvel where it's like those winding cranking shelves of archives. It's very metallic. You got that old musky paper smell. There's more files and dockets than actual tomes or books. And it's just this long, it goes on for maybe about 200 or 300 feet. You see this small clump about maybe like 150 feet. And like the hallway's about 10 feet wide and about 15 feet tall. Very square, very sterile. And you just got that stale air that hasn't moved or been disturbed in centuries. And there's a small clump about 150 feet down the way. You can give me a perception check if you wish.
I was just going to stride towards the clump, but I guess
you can stride as well.
Oh, I didn't do that. I only got a 10.
With Uther leading the way, stomp, 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 stomp. As you get closer and closer, you notice that it's three kind of figures all seated, two on the east side and one on the west side, and they're all in adventuring gear, and they all appear to be skeletonized. That they've all sat down and they're all just kind of like, it's almost a very grisly and surreal scene. Their packs are by their side. Some of the books they've taken have been opened up, and it's three skeletons just sitting in a hallway archive.
And I put on detect magic to see what's going on around me.
Absolutely. Again, you get that Arkham Knight detective mode, and your eyes light up for everything. It's just about every source of magic is the hallway's magic, the floor is magic, the ceiling is magic. And funny enough, the three skeletons or the three former adventurers sitting on the ground are not magical, but they do have some items that are glowing magical to you.
Oh. Amalika's going to relay this information to Waywocket and Uther.
I'm going to start digging around for the magical item. Axe holding them.
I was more relaying it because I feel like they died for a reason. But
You know what items they got on them? There might be another headband of intellect.
True.
Whatever killed them will not kill me, or it will.
If you wish to do a check on how they died, give me a medicine check.
Oh, I'll handle this. I'm pretty good at knowing why people died.
18.
You sure are.
Wow, nice job. Uther, you look down, and there are signs of combat and battle. That their equipment and armor has been nothing damaged in a serious way or in a lethal way. Like it's people who've taken some wounds, but nothing mortal or fatal about them. And then that's when you start looking around and you see that water skins are empty and dry ration wrappings are empty, and you slowly start to get the feeling that these people starved to death.
They starved to death. They weren't killed by a monster at all. What a sad, placid way to die.
Well, how did they starve to death?
Well, I imagine they were trapped in this hallway. Maybe they couldn't find the entrance to the exit.
Befuddling spell or some such. Pretty pathetic.
Maybe don't read these books also. But what have they got on them?
Give me a
investigation.
Yes, please.
That is my expertise, quite literally. 24.
All right. One of the magical items that Amalika points out to you is a dagger. And you notice that it looks like it's just recently been dipped in venom.
So did these people die recently?
The medicine check from Uther is good enough to know that these bones have been, all the meaty and fleshy bits have decayed away that these have probably been here for at least 5 or 6 years at minimum.
But the dagger has just recently been dipped.
It looks like it, yes.
Okay. It could be a magical item, and it constantly looks envenomated.
Okay.
And then the other item you find. Ah, yes. Okay. Here it is. One has a staff resting beside them. And it looks like the staff has constant vines and leaves growing off of it. Like the vine will grow up and kind of like wither at the end and fall off into dust and nothingness, but it keeps regenerating and regrowing.
Cool.
And the third item, what I had on these guys, appears to be a chainmail shirt. And it has a very, Malika, in your eyes, it appears to have a magical glisten to it.
Ooh, fancy.
Oh, and I almost also forgot. The most important part about that investigation check is that one of the books they have on them is The Crystal Fortress, Volume 2.
Ah, that's a freebie.
Yeah, you're lucky you rolled that 2 on that one, because if you got to there, like, it wouldn't be there. Someone checked it out.
Oh,
Well,
hey!
look down, 3 books to go.
Yeah, pretty good. All right, let me just put that in my belt. Uther, this chainmail shirt definitely has your name on it, but let me just do a thing when we get back into more safe area, less where these bodies are, and I'll do a little identifying.
Nice. All right. You can identify them there. This looks like it's been undisturbed for quite some time.
Well, if you want to just take 10 minutes and enjoy this hallway, I can learn about it for you.
Okay. What do you want to do?
So I guess on the floor next to these skeletons, I pull out my ritual book. I flip a few pages to the identify page.
Nice.
Which I figured as a merchant would be very useful. I think just double checking what is in a identify spell. So I pull out from my little components pouch a little owl feather and a little pearl. The pearl sort of sits between me and the item. The owl feather I move around in a few circles while saying the incantations for identify.
Which item are you doing first?
I'll do the chainmail shirt.
All right. You begin to identify, and it comes across as an armor of resistance, and all of a sudden, just like the sharp pain hits you in the back of your head, kind of like a red checkout, kind of like, eh. And then the actual name of it is the Armor of Vulnerability. This is a cursed mail item.
Oh.
It is a +2 chainmail shirt, and if you didn't use Identify spell, it would tell you that it had resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, but if you put it on, you'd be cursed, and you'd have vulnerability, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, and disadvantage on all strength checks, and you could not remove it.
Why would anyone do such a thing to a perfectly nice piece of armor?
I didn't like whoever was wearing it.
Or maybe the being here for so long cursed it?
It's very difficult to remove a cursed item on your body once you have it on.
Does the paladin spell remove curse do it?
It would not work on this specific item.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You'd have to do something specific to break the curse on it. I feel the Identify spell would tell you that. You don't know what the solution is, but it's essentially
right.
If you put this on, you're probably in a lot more trouble.
Yeah, maybe not for you, Uther. This thing's giving me an incredible headache, and this doesn't seem like I know at all how to solve it.
Well, then it's trash, and I will just toss the
thing across the hallway.
You see, it just kind of like scatters and kind of scrapes along the floor, but leaving little scrape marks in the ground. All right.
We should be respectful of the library, Uther. Like the library has like a lot of defenses, and I know we like to like stomp, smash things, but I would like the library to not like in turn stomp, smash us more than it needs to.
Fair, but at the same time, I'm not going to die quietly holding a book in my hand. That would be the ultimate indignity.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to do that. If things attack us, they attack us, we fight back. Like we told the librarians, we're going to fight back, but we should maybe just not provoke the defenses is all I'm saying. You know, like that's all I mean.
Fair. For now.
All right, your next item, which do you wish to do?
I'll do the staff with the vines and leaves.
The staff you get, it comes up as a Staff of the Woodlands. It is a +2 staff, and you get a +2 to spell attack rolls with it. I'll send you the details on it, but you get 10 charges, and it can cast Animal Friendship, Awaken, Barkskin, Locate Animals or Plants, Speak with Animals, Speak with Plants, and Wall of Thorns. And without using a charge, you can cast Pass Without a Trace. And once per day, you can call Tree Form, where you can use an action to plant one end of the staff into fertile earth and expend one charge to transform the staff into a healthy tree. The tree is 60 feet tall and has a 5-foot diameter trunk, and it branches top spread out a 20-foot radius. The tree appears ordinary but radiates a faint aura of transmutation magic if targeted by detect magic while touching the tree and using another action to speak its command word. You can return the staff to its normal form. Any creature in the tree falls when it reverts to a staff.
Aw.
Poor little
Very
squirrel
cute.
friends.
Honest squirrel, just like, what the fuck?
This was my home.
And if you wish to attune to anything, it's going to take an hour.
Yeah, I also just Googled it because I was curious about all that. This item says and I do learn it requires attunement from the Identify spell, but it does. The Googling reveals to me that it requires attunement by a druid.
I'm removing that because it's just too damn cool.
Cool, sweet. All right.
Well, stop using your smarts against us. Let us have the things. I know.
Yeah. That's very cool. Oh, it also gets a +2 to attack and rolls. That's sweet.
It's real nice.
It's a very good staff if you like animals, which I do.
This really would have helped you with the rats. I mean, not to keep bringing up the rats, but like, I feel like had you had this, we really wouldn't have had that whole kerfuffle, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well,
can't we use? Hold on, can't we use this to locate the demon thing that we need to get to the basement because it has locate animal?
It would be locate creature. Demons are unfortunately not animals.
Yeah. It was like, hold up, this is good. Nope. False alarm.
Oh, and I also learned how many charges it currently has.
It has 10 charges on it.
Cool.
It has not been used in a while.
Yeah.
And then,
the final is a Dagger of Venom.
so exactly what it looks like.
Yep. +1 dagger, and as an action, you can cause thick black poison to coat the blade. The poison remains on 1 minute. The creature that's hit must succeed at a DC 15 Constitution save, or take 2d10 poison and become poisoned for 1 minute. The dagger can't be used again this way until the next dawn.
Pretty cool. Well, we'll take a rest. Maybe we'll figure out who's gonna attune to these staffies. In the meantime, should we try to get back from where we came and see if we can find the treatise on magic and the arcane?
It's like, what's up to you? Where were we going before? We're going to the evocation wing, or where were we going before we jumped in this place?
We're heading to the east. I think that was evocation. Yes.
All right.
But we found the book right here. I mean, do we need a second copy of it?
I think this is the copy of it. I think it was. I think these guys grabbed it and read it.
before we're back in the earshot of those nosy ghosts, I think we should come to a consensus of whether or not we're going to take these books from the library. We're not going to get our reward if we don't come back empty-handed.
I mean, like, I was asked to bring them back. Granted, that was Manshoon who asked that I bring them back. But maybe we should read it and see what he wanted the books for.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could take a quick look here at Crystal Fortress, or we could, grab some more books and then do a real study session a little later, perhaps over a short rest.
Manshoon was looking for a way to bring back the real Manshoon.
Straight up, my plan is to find the librarians all these delightful items, and when they love us, we're going to ask for one favor, which is all these books.
That's not a bad favor. You smell lemons. And you see Dragontail's wag, or his tail wag a little bit. You actually see...
Maybe they'll make an exception for us, because we're such good guys and gals. And I don't know how you identify Dragonbait, but...
You see him actually hold up one of his scaly hand or fingers. He actually reaches inside one of his just inside his chainmail and pulls out a small piece of papyrus that's been kind of rolled up. And he unrolls it and hands it to you, Amalika.
Oh, for me? Thank you. She opens it up.
It's got a very old, musky smell, and there's a title of a book on it.
Oh, is this what you're looking for, Dragonbait?
You see him nod his head and you smell more lemons. And the title of the book is Differentiating Between Yourself and Clones.
Okay, this is an interesting choice for you. Is this for you or someone else?
You see him point at himself and nod his head.
Oh, there's some backstory here, I think.
Yep. You smell ham.
Okay. Well,
I mean, about differentiating clones. That actually might be exactly what we need to, Dragonbait. Because Manshoon, fought those Manshoon wars between all the various Manshoon clones. And we gotta know if this is the real Manshoon or a different clone, or, what the deal is with this guy.
Yeah, we could definitely help you with this.
You see his tail wag a little bit and you smell more lemons.
Yes, lemons for all, my friend.
Well, I mean, when we're back with the librarians, we can check the archive and see where it is, unless we happen to somehow come across it. But
and you actually see him hold his finger up to his snoot, and he kind of gives like that, shh.
Oh, is there something around?
It's like he shakes his head no, and then just kind of like clasps his hands around your hands, Amalika, with like the tiny little scroll, and just kind of like squeezes it tight.
It's a secret between you and he, and I guess me now, because I overheard this conversation.
Me too. I've been listening the whole time.
Well, we will help you get this, we'll figure it out. I think, like Waywocket said, I think this can help us too, so we'll make sure we can find this for you, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea where it is?
I would be guessing maybe a divination room. It seems like a divine magic between differentiating.
We can find object. Don't you have find object?
You say actually he like raises his hand and like, aha.
Oh, yeah, I also do have find object. Locate object. Right.
Oh, yeah, locate object. Slightly fancier than just saying find object.
Let me just do quick.
Has more pizzazz that way.
It does.
I sense the location as long as it's within 1,000 feet of me. Yeah, maybe we'll wait till we get to the atrium, and I'll just do a little casual locate object spell. That'll let me know which direction maybe to go from the central atrium. That's what I'm thinking here.
And ever since you've known him, this is probably the strongest smell of lemons you've ever had.
Pungent.
All right, so what do you do? Is you see Uncle Waywocket like, all right, well, we're one book down. That was That was really lucky. Can we turn this guy off a bit? Like the lemons is getting a little strong, a little citrusy, if you will.
I'm sure if we
Well,
head towards
probably-
danger, it'll turn off.
And it's probably better than how the rest of us all smell right now after days in the forest.
You know what? True. Citrus does get rid of a lot of the bad smells.
It really does. Honestly, like, I can bet you keep doing you.
The smell of lemons continues. It's like, and you hear Uncle Wayward. And you know what? You do that little like lemon spritzer citrus smell on your towels. It's really you feel special. All right. So what do you wish to do? You can continue forward or go back the way you came.
Well, we still need to get the... Oh, wait, did we get the book that was supposed to be at the end of this hallway?
Yep, yeah, we already got the Crystal Fortress Volume 2. So...
We don't have to grab one of the objects
Oh.
or one of the librarians.
You know
here,
what?
though.
You know what? Just as a quick thing, you know what I'm thinking? We should go down to the end of this hallway that we're heading towards, just to make sure that the Zarv isn't over there. We'd be so embarrassed if we have to come back this way later. Because, there was just not a Zarv over there.
Again, can Amalika keep the detect magic on as they move forward so she can see anything that may come up?
Yeah.
It's
You can cast that at will.
Yeah, it's almost a little blinding to how much magic is happening in this area.
Is it as blinding as the sun that I've had to grow accustomed to being around all day?
No, but it's about like 3 levels below that.
Okay.
So do you head towards the end of the hallway and through the misty wall that awaits you there?
Mm-hmm.
So I will move you all over there. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Ping. And if you can all just like kind of drop yourself right around there.
Right here? Uh-huh.
In that little area. Okay, this is the evocation room. The first thing you notice in this room is all the bookcases all look like they're pristine, immaculate, like fresh out of the IKEA box. They've recently been constructed, but the floor and walls and ceiling are all made of like a thick, dense gray granite, like heart of the mountain type of stone. And you see that there are scorch marks and burn marks and kind of like acid bubbly and pitting on different stones. It looks like there's been a lot of spells slung in this area. Amalika, it looks like for you, almost like looking through like a kaleidoscope. Like it's just like this prismatic, just like splash of types of magic thrown at the floor, the walls, the ceilings. But the only thing that you can see around is that the bookcases themselves are glowing pristinely with abjuration magic.
Oh, wow. This place is giving me a headache. It is so bright in here, Waywocket. Like, there's so much magic going on.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it, and I feel sorry for your senses.
Ugh. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, just be careful in here. Like, ton of magic has been used, and like, I don't know, like, doesn't seem like we would just casually sling magic around if like everything was hunky dory in here, you know?
Yeah, and Amalka, it's like it's almost like you've got a sense of magical tinnitus, where you've just got like this buzzing in the back of your head. It's kind of like almost like you've got a cicada in your ear 24/7.
Ugh, yeah, something is up with this room, guys. Like, be super careful. Can we do like perception or anything to kind of see?
Are you trying to look around? You trying to search something? What do you want to do?
I think just like look around and get kind of like a bigger sense of what's happening in the room.
Okay, give me a perception check then.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, that's shit. A 10.
For you, Amalka, it's hard to focus down with that kind of like that buzzing, that ringing going inside it feels like it's like just like a small cicadas at the back of your skull.
I'm looking for signs of like a creature.
Uther, yes, there are signs of creatures all around. Like there are, it's very much looking at the evidence you don't see, where you see there's scorch marks and blast marks and burn marks and like chemical burns and frost marks and stuff like that. But you start to notice that there's a pattern in the ground where it's sometimes there's footsteps of where people just like got blasted. Sometimes it's kind of like just like a blob or like unusual shape where something got blasted, but you do notice that there's small little voids about maybe like the size of your fist where like the magic just wasn't affected.
I'll relay what I've found to my compatriots.
You also get the feeling that this may have been kind of like a target range or a practice area type of thing.
Someone's been practicing their killing skills in here, and also possibly killing people.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that would be a way to do it. I'm gonna do a quick search of the shelf that I am next to here at the north, just to I'm gonna scan the shelf and just look for any titles that jump out to me.
An investigation check.
Yeah. Oh, I only rolled a 2, so it's a 14.
A 14. You look through the shelves. It's hard. It's hard to put. There's some language. You've actually used an hour to identify, so your comprehend languages will be gone.
Yeah.
So it's harder to figure out what there's very, very few things in common, and the things in common are for evocation. It's like the magnificence of bat guano and you, or how I learned to stop worrying and learn to love the beholder.
A lot of these seem really dense. I don't really have all the time in the world to read these, considering that, Manshoon is distracting us for some evil purpose. So, my vote is there's no Zav in here. It's giving you a headache, Amalika. Why don't we just get the hell out of here?
It's the best plan you've had all day.
I will say, even though your investigation check was 14, Amalika, give me an Arcana check.
Okay.
Oh, boom. Yeah.
15.
So, Malika, you start seeing that this is kind of like a practice area and there's books around and this is the evocation wing. You're very sure that if you did some investigating, you may find some spell scrolls in these bookcases.
Oh. There's also monsters.
Very possibly true as well.
Amalika tells this information to the group, just all right, there's maybe some spells we can use, like some spell scrolls, but I feel strongly that there are definitely, I'm getting bad vibes in here, guys, real bad vibes. So, we could go for the spells and, possibly amp ourselves up, or we could save ourselves for this basement and the atrium. I don't know.
I heard the word spell scrolls, and I'm doing another investigation check at this bookshelf.
Do it up. 28. Boom.
Yeah, there we go. It's a 16 I rolled, so yeah.
On case.
Waywocket. Your fingers get a little dancey, they get a little tingly as you get spell scrolls, and you realize don't look for bound items, look for rolled up items or spell scroll type of items. And then that's when your magical connection with the arcane, you realize that, as Malika said, all these bookshelves are perfect and pristine because they're protected by abjuration magic. And that's when you realize they may be protected and that you have to somehow get rid of the magic first before you can probably pull a book off of this shelf.
Malika, maybe you could use your shadow magic, and before I grab this here spell scroll, maybe cast a little dispel magic in the room.
I could do that. Let me see. Maybe.
Now, for dispel magic, you can either cast it at its base 3rd level, or you can cast it at a higher level. So you have to make that choice before you do so.
Do I need to do it at a higher level?
It's hard to say. Higher level has a better. So essentially, if you equal the level or better it, you don't have to roll anything. If you cast that at a lower level than what's needed, you have to roll to see if you can dispel it. So more magically defensive things, you'd probably have to roll for it. It's your choice.
What do I do?
Just wanted to give you that option.
Yeah. And I think you get one free dispel magic with your drow magic, which is a level 3 casting.
Yeah, that is also true. You get a freebie.
So I can just cast that then.
Yeah. So you flavor up how you're casting dispel magic to remove this protection.
And like Amalika kind of has a headache, so like she kind of just like puts her fingers out like and hands and just kind of spreads them out, kind of like a curtain, parting a curtain.
Nice.
So just
you see little motes of blue and gold and white mana begin to emanate from Amalika's fingers, and they kind of make that beaded curtain, and she pulls it to the side. Amalika, just roll your charisma, a d20 plus your charisma modifier, please.
Boop, boop, boop.
I think you can just roll.
11, I think.
11. You begin to part the screen, and like that buzzing is just such a pain in the back of your neck. You kind of lose concentration for a bit, and you kind of just almost like you're falling asleep while driving. You wake up and I'm back in control again. And that's when you see one of the books comes levitating off the bookshelf, and then you see a second book come levitating off the bookshelf, and then from behind you see a bunch of books come flying off the bookshelf, and they begin to spin around into a maelstrom. And you notice that these books are growing in size, and they're slowly clumping together, where like this kind of like torso made out of a giant wood-bound book, and arms begin to roll up into pages as you see the head of this giant manual and like teeth and this locket and these two little eyes roll forward at the top as what appears to be a book golem comes up, and you see kind of like drool, but that drool is actually just shredded paper with like little like words and phrases coming down as you hear just go as you see little pamphlets and flyers begin to swirl around. And I believe that's where we're going to call it for the night.
Yay!
The Diecast podcast was produced by Miles Baker, Stephanie Cook, and Johnny Robertson.